All right, everyone, we should be live. Let's make sure that's actually the case over on Rumble, of course. By the way, to Spartan Phalanx, yes, I already have, so that's why I'm not particularly worried about Teflon Don's concerns. He's already under occult protection. Don't worry about it too much. We've got some news, by the way, about the would-be Trump assassin. There's an awful lot of it to unpack, and some of it's rather confusing, and some of it's like allegations. So there's an allegation, for instance, of a CIA connection. It appears to probably be true, but we're not 100% sure, so we're going to have to tread lightly when we talk about that particular story. Tulsi Gabbard, weighing in on Harris, actually, saying exactly what I've been saying for months, and she is fundamentally correct. She gets it. That Kamala Harris would probably start a war if she's elected. And that worries her because, of course, she is a military veteran. There was a cookie poll in Pennsylvania. This is an unscientific poll. We're talking about this mainly for humorous purposes, but it does show, I do believe that there is an enthusiasm gap between Trump and Harris. It's just that one cookie poll probably doesn't exactly write the entire devil on the wall for you. So we'll go into that. There was a huge differential between the number of people who wanted Trump cookies versus Harris cookies. The Biden administration taking steps to eliminate protections for gray wolves. Actually, a Trump era policy. And I don't think I weighed in on it at the time, but I actually opposed this policy. I opposed it under Trump. I opposed it under Joe Biden. So we'll see what happens with that. I'll give my opinions of it in a little bit. The terrifying way that eels escape a hungry fish's stomach. X-ray videos showed that some young Japanese eels demonstrated they were not content to become a predator's meal. Yes, they will literally swim out through their gills. They will escape through what effectively is their lungs. Yes, Quatrina VR. Louisiana now has constitutional carry, so enjoy it while you're here, Sticks. I will be fielding my firearm when I am down there in New Orleans. I will be packing it up, of course. You can't take it in your carry-on luggage. That would be a mistake. You have to put it in the checked luggage. But I will be armed. I'm perfectly safe. Don't worry about that. In fact, we're thinking about a clanker meetup of some sorts. Yeah, I could take everyone out to lunch or something like that. I don't have any problem with that. As long as it's a good restaurant. It's got to be a place that's got, like, you know, alligator po' boy or turtle soup or some crazy shit like that. Maybe you can attend. I mean, if you're in Louisiana, definitely. Yeah, hit me up on Twitter DM. I'll be doing probably videos on the subject in the next couple of days. Not getting to Louisiana for a week and a half, roughly. But once I get there, of course, it's going to be nice and tropical. And I'm going to have a good time. Everyone else will probably be like wearing, if Southern Texas is any indicator, around the end of September. And people will be like bundled up like they're Eskimos. And I'll be wearing a t-shirt being like, what the fuck is your problem? Crawfish pie, jambalaya, seafood gumbo. Gumbo, I'm definitely trying. I've had gumbo before, but I want to have gumbo again. I don't think I've tried jambalaya, actually. Past the Squirtle on the left-hand side. Ah, yes, this is Squirtle. By the way, the first Pokemon actually that I actually fielded in Pokemon Red, I chose Squirtle. Did you hear Internet Archive might get shut down because of their disastrous lawsuit defense? So I heard. Yes, it's possible, unfortunately. Unfortunately, it is possible that the entire Internet Archive might get completely destroyed. This is why I use archive.is instead of archive.org. Archive.org has been invaluable in my literary pursuits. But if the literary side of things is going to destroy their site, I figured, yeah, well, there's this other archive that doesn't have that particular problem and is, I think, based in the Philippines. So it seems to work. Clarence Spangle posting a bunch of Hindi language. I don't know exactly what that says. It probably tells me to fuck myself or something like that. You got to try blackened redfish from different places until you find the best. Never tried it, but I will. But yeah, I'll be in Louisiana in about a week and a half. I am going to visit Texas. Ben Zielk, I live in southern Texas and I hate it here. I actually loved southern Texas. I was in the Rio Grande Valley for several months. I thought it was great. I thought it was one of the best things ever. Shrimp po' boy, muffalata cafe du monde, and a Sazerac, all must-haves. I don't know what a Sazerac is, but I've heard, trust me, I've heard of muffalata. Everyone mentions that. Yeah, I'm going to Texas. Anyway, we'll get to the news. I'm kind of getting distracted. There was an attempted assassination the other day of Donald Trump. This comes as literally no surprise. When you call somebody Hitler, or the more retarded version of Hitler at least, for 8 years solid running, eventually some nut out there is going to take that message seriously and probably take a shot at them. After all, if you went back in time, let's say that you're in 1950 and you're in front of Joseph Stalin and you decide to blow his head off. Nobody would remember you as a criminal. Well, the Soviets would, but otherwise the Western world would hail you as a hero. They would think that it was a great thing. If you killed Lenin, if you killed Pol Pot, like if you went out into the jungles and you sliced Pol Pot's head off, nobody would blame you. They would think that you were the greatest thing since sliced bread. The legacy media has spent almost a decade telling everyone that Donald Trump is Adolf Hitler. It does not surprise me that several people have tried to assassinate him. And this is the second attempt. There might be more, unfortunately. And unfortunately, one of them might be successful. My hope is that they're not. I've done everything that I can to protect him in the spiritual sense. Just pointing that out there. Because I want him to win re-election, because the alternative is a goddamn psychopath, and I don't want her in office. And I will be making a pitch tomorrow to Kamala Harris would-be voters, asking them about this. Can you really legitimately look at what she's saying? And are you so unintelligent that you're incapable of understanding that there's a reason why she's not answering anyone's questions? There's a reason why there's really no real policy that's being put out there. There's a reason why she's hiding effectively. I'll be doing that tomorrow probably. And I would say, as far as this Ryan Ruth, he seems to be a befuddled individual. I think he's a leftoid, but he's also a confused leftoid, if that makes sense. It seems like he doesn't exactly know what's going on sometimes. There's a Newsweek interview here. Again, link in the description, not archived. Just watch it for yourself after the live stream, of course. Laura Loomer posted this. He looks like he's completely fucked out of his gourd, and apparently was a merc working with the Azov battalion in Ukraine. I mean, this dude's nuts. That being said, of course, there was probably a political sentiment behind what he did. It was quite clear who the target was. Nobody else on the golf course is high profile enough to be a target. It was Donald Trump. I like how the legacy media will say, well, allegedly he was trying to kill Trump. He might have been planning to kill Trump. No, he was planning to kill Trump. That's the whole point. That's the reason why he brought a GoPro as well. You think that he would bring a GoPro and try to record himself shooting someone who wasn't famous? Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. Oh, I shot the Secret Service agent that fucked my girlfriend. No, I don't think so. I don't believe so. George Gabriel, Stalin died in March of 53. You would probably want to go back to 1920 or maybe even 1910 when he was a bank robber. Yeah, Stalin was a weird dude. I'm just giving some examples, though. You've got Stalin, Pol Pot, Hitler, Mao, all of these other people. Most of them are communists, by the way. They've killed more people than any other group in the world. The Crusades are nothing compared to even a single communist purge. But yeah, I mean, if you could go back and you blew Stalin's head off, you'd think you had accomplished something, right? And that's the point of it. And so there are people that have been indoctrinated into thinking that Donald Trump is like a figure like Hitler, Stalin, Pol Pot. He's going to destroy everything. He's going to destroy the country. In fact, he might destroy the world. Now, I look at Kamala Harris and I say it's much more likely that she's going to start World War III. We'll get into the Tulsi Gabbard take on this. She happens to agree with me in a moment. That's the real problem. People have been indoctrinated. They actually believe this shit. Now, Donald Trump didn't start any new wars. He gave us tax relief, reigned over a generally, a feasible economy. And there weren't a lot of problems. The only problems that were there were from like the legacy media claiming that he was creating a problem. But that doesn't matter now, does it? Only public perception matters. Only the optics actually matter. So if you're adversarial to the legacy media and they decide to crucify you and say that you're the next Adolf Hitler, yeah, you might get a couple of people that think that they need to take a shot. They are partially culpable for what happened. So yeah, you can watch that particular Newsweek interview. I thought it was interesting. This was quite some time ago, actually, several years ago. Here's the full Newsweek interview with attempted Trump assassin Ryan Ruth, who tried to kill President Trump at his West Palm Beach, Florida International Golf Club today. I have downloaded and archived the video because I'm sure the fake news Trump haters over at Newsweek will try to delete this, true, and cover up the fact that they knew about this radicalized mercenary 2 years ago. She did a good job with that one. I'm taking a little bit of credit because I think I was the first major content creator that helped popularize the archive literally everything movement because it's kind of important. Lord of the Ree, Hannity is a Fed. Project Mockingbird still in action. Clank. I don't know if Sean Hannity is a Fed. There are certain people on Fox News Network that are, though. Now we've got to weigh on Tulsi Gabbard. This is what she said verbatim. This was her post earlier. If Kamala is allowed to serve as commander-in-chief, she would feel the need to prove how tough she is by pushing us into an unnecessary, costly war that does not serve the interests of the American people. My brothers and sisters in uniform volunteer to put our lives on the line for our country, not for some politician to look tough. This is exactly what I've been saying for months. If Kamala Harris is elected as the first female president, especially female president in the BIPOC community, she's going to be pressured to start a war. And the corporate executives and the military brass will definitely urge her to do so. Well, this country is popping off. We need to do something about it. The United States has to be involved on every foreign shore and every foreign war at all times. This is basically the Bushite mentality, but it would be amplified if you had a female president who wasn't like, if it was Tulsi, for example. She's actually served. She knows what, combat can be like. She, I think, would show restraint. If she were the first female president, I would have no problem with that. Tulsi Gabbard, perfectly fine. In fact, I hope she runs again in 2028. But if you have a first female president like Kamala Harris, they're going to feel like they have to step toe-to-toe with the big boys. That's going to be a goddamn problem, because stepping toe-to-toe with the big boys means, I need the toys that make the noise, and I need to make a big kaboom, because they're all making big kabooms all of the time. Ah, shit. Well, there's this other country that's vexed us in some way. Let's bomb them. I have no doubt that Kamala Harris would, as Tulsi explains here, start a major war. I have no doubt whatsoever. In fact, I would think it would be objective. I don't think that there's any doubt whatsoever that she would do so. Bogdwan, Ryan Ruth was in BlackRock video ad too, LMAO. Yeah, no, what a coincidence. Yeah, he and the first Trump shooter were both in BlackRock videos. How strange. What a coincidence. This is happening all the time lately. It makes me a little bit uncomfortable. Dust thou art. Sticks. What does it matter if Trump wins when the Uniparty will have full, uncontested control again right after his second term? As a veteran who loves freedom, I'm looking at countries to move my family. Oh, there are none. You have to defend the country that you're currently in. It does matter. Donald Trump will have wide purview over multiple issues, diplomacy, the border, etc., if he is reelected. So it will actually be meaningful. Don't get blackpilled. Scott Steiner. This October surprise is not that Barney and Friends is coming back in October. Oh, is that Barney and Friends is coming back in October? Oh God, they're bringing back Barney. Really, the suspect has ties to an MSNBC security analyst, and the New York Times journalist class is adjacent to this event. Also, not a surprise. Wasted Bonehead. Good morning from the grave. Woo! It's basically Halloween, so you know. Lord of the Ree. Hannity isn't the only one, of course, but methinks he doth protest too much. Listen to him talk about getting invited to golf with Trump and his weird reasons for not going. Something smells. Clank. I didn't see that one. If you can DM me on Twitter, maybe I can report on that. Might have been he had other things to do. I mean, I assume he does have a busy schedule. I've been called the Goth Sean Hannity by Nick Fuentes, actually. I thought that was hilarious. I'm like, as long as I get a 7-figure pay range. Ramon C. GTC, what is your favorite chili pepper? I actually am a fan of Anaheim's because they add spice, but it's not that much. So you can pretty much use them for anything. You know, you could do them like a jalapeno popper sort of thing, too. Jalapenos are good. I like Tabasco. Yeah, well, I mean, I like chili peppers in general. I don't like the toppest end of hot because I can't really take that much heat unless it's like just as an additive. But yeah, the low to medium end peppers, I like all of those. Bobby Dowd, excellent videos this morning as usual. Thanks for keeping the black pills away. We need to keep our shit together. Peace out, Clank. Exactly. They're trying to black pill you. They're literally, what they're trying to do is make you not fight because you think that the fight is over before it began. That's the whole point. That's all that the Uniparty is trying to do. Don't bother fighting. You can't fight the system. That's the entire goal. BW, good morning, Sticks. Wish the deletion attempts would stop. You think this will drum up more support? I don't think it will increase support, but it definitely doesn't hurt. Quatrina VR, ever tried hot pepper jelly sticks? My family makes it down in Louisiana. No, I've never even heard of it, actually. Like when I make chili, I'll cut up a couple of garden fresh jalapenos in there. You can use the pickled ones too. They're all right. Wasted Bonehead Sticks. The Bush was speaking Vietnamese. Just a shame Trump had to deal with the Bush to rat out on the fucker. Oh my God. I don't think Roe was Vietnamese. I think he was a little nuts. One of his neighbors came out and said, well, he always seemed a little kooky and people were afraid of him. I can imagine that. But the thing is, the legacy media at the very least is still culpable. When you tell crazy people, hey, look, that dude over there is fucking evil. He's basically Satan. Eventually, one of them's got to snap because there are plenty of crazy people in the world. And that appears to be what happened. Clumsy Vash, Squirtle sucks. Charmander for the win. You rock, Sticks. Yeah, no, I was a Squirtle fan myself. Egg Beast, how can the people protect Trump peacefully and legally? Just be there when he's out there and look for danger and try to alert others if there is some danger. Make sure to do this legally. By the way, I would like to point out, in the original Pokemon trilogy, Red and Blue, I know that there was some Japanese green, Pokemon Green or something. But as far as the US release, the characters that you chose for your starting Pokemon effectively were related to the difficulty of the game. Bulbasaur was easy mode because the first few gyms, the Pokemon were susceptible to damage from plant-type Pokemon. Squirtle was medium because, of course, when you're going up against rock-type Pokemon, that would be effective. And then later on, it sort of peters out. Charmander was hard mode because fire doesn't work very well against rock-type Pokemon, nor against water-type Pokemon. Is ambivalent to lightning or, what was it, energy-type Pokemon, etc., etc. It was basically how you chose your difficulty mode. Bulbasaur was easy. I chose Squirtle myself, mainly because water's cool. OMG puppies. If you ever eat at Lubby's, try the jalapeno cornbread. Pilgrim Media. Veal scallopini and marsala sauce is the ticket. Apache. So the guy had a gun charge, but was able to buy weapons for Ukraine and fly around. He allegedly owned guns personally as well. This glows too much. Yeah, no, it does glow in the dark. Absolutely. Daddy O'Geal. Both shooters were in BlackRock commercials. Again, total coincidence. Dust thou art. What exactly is the hope after Trump? Who else has the funds, desire, and morality to replace Trump in 4 years? Tulsi Gabbard. Is this really another candidate that could take his place and win? White pill me. Well, you've got Gabbard. You would have the heir apparent J.D. Vance. Not perfect, but good. There are other talents. You could even have like a Marco Rubio or something like that. The real question is, look at the Democratic Party. What's their talent? Gavin Newsom, Kathy Hochul, Gretchen Whitmer. Yeah, that's what a star-studded roster. They're going to do so well in 2028. Lord of the Ree. Hannity said the main reason he didn't go is because Trump and his friend were better golfers than him. No one who claims to be a fan of Trump, as Hannity does, would legit skip out for said reason. Actually, it might. I mean, I couldn't beat Trump in golf. I've only golfed like twice in my life, actually, other than mini golf. That doesn't really count. Although I am very good at miniature golfing. Wonder, does the Mar-a-Lago have a mini golf course? Man, maybe I'd book a room for a couple of nights. That would be fun. Mini golfing with Trump, and then he still beats your ass. Wasted Bonehead. Sticks, do you think they'll make another attempt? I hate to think about it. How many attempts before they just give up? They'll never give up. At this point, though, I think there may be another before the election, which is unfortunate, but he'll be protected. He'll be fine. Not just a string. This really writes the argument for scuttering the ABCs to the winds, right? Yeah, no, scattering ABC to the winds would be a good idea. Thrift shop investor, 300 to 500 yards away, and they saw a barrel sticking through a fence and engaged. Seems suspicious. Someone was in place to take a pic as he fled. Yeah, no, I know. There were all sorts of unanswered questions about this, and there probably always will be. Egg Beast, President Gabbard. Tulsi could be president. I would trust. On foreign policy, she would be very good. On domestic policy, probably standard, but I mean, that is still meaningful. Let's get to our sponsors, shall we? Before we go on to the, the Pennsylvania cookie poll. We have cultivated-mind.com, where you can get mushroom pills, of course. I take them every single morning. Anecdotally, they boost energy quite well. The other one, I think, has something in it that's neuroregenerative, if I remember correctly, or at least there are scientific studies showing that it might be neuroregenerative. So I need to get one of those bottles, too. Pumpkinfirecrafts.us, where you can get keychains, belt chains, engraved spoons, bookmarks, glassware, and far more. Ouroboros logo, Clank, all the memes from the channel. BiltongUSA.com, use code STICKS10, by the way. BiltongUSA.com, where you can get delicious meat from Anton. Yes, he will feed you his sweet meat. He enjoys this. He's a meat vendor. He's a meat popsicle. Fifth Element reference. Also, Stick, Sex, and Hammer mugs, tumblers, and shirts available. Wicked Needle Embroidery.bigcartel.com, where you can get Stick, Sex, and Hammer hats. Again, there are two designs available. One has the Ouroboros logo. It's a little bit larger and it's offset. The other one, it's a little bit smaller and it says Stick, Sex, and Hammer 666 right below it. So, you pick and choose. And I think there are several colors available as well. HeritageHeirloomSeedCompany.com, where you can get a seed survival bucket. You can also get Styx Hexenhammer soap. And by the way, the squash, the Turk's turban that they're selling, yeah, it was actually delicious. Yeah, I could have left it there a couple more days to ripen a little bit more, but once it was cooked, it was fucking delicious. The Styx Hexenhammer soap available now is clove, cedar, and blueberry, but there are other soaps available there as well. They've got a soap shop, and it is very high quality. It is exquisite. We have websterswares.com/Styx-wares, where you can get Styx Hexenhammer knives, you can get Styx Hexenhammer jackets. There are flags available, also metal straws so that you don't kill turtles like I'm about to do in New Orleans when I eat turtle soup. They've also got Trump paraphernalia and other miscellanea available as well. And finally, jamandbean.com. That is JAMNbean.com, where you can get the Costa Rica blend, my personal favorite coffee, at least beyond the Styx blend number 2. The Clank blend will be available soon, and it's the most delicious coffee. The Costa Rica is a close second, though. It's nice and smooth. They've also got teas available as well. So, yeah, those are our sponsors. Paul, did you see that vid on AP's YouTube of the dude's truck with a Biden-Harris bumper sticker on his truck? Please watch it. You'd have to send it to me. I didn't see that, no. JOFEM, Styx, civil war if Mr. Trump is assassinated? Wouldn't be civil war, but there would be unrest. Significant unrest. It could escalate into a civil war. Emperor Soft Turtle, I think it's official. Trump did crush Kamala. Not only did they try again, Kamala has been coming out of the basement and embarrassing herself. Yeah, like when she lapsed into Ebonics the other day. Oh, brothers and sisters, y'all, I sure do like them watermelons. And I mean, it was inexplicable. I'm watching it. I can't even believe what I'm fucking seeing. It was worse than Hillary Clinton's hot sauce in a handbag moment. For those of you who have not seen it, look up Kamala Harris Ebonics. Trust me, you'll be satisfied in your cringe alert for the day. Send your faces. Do you add corn syrup, tomato ketchup into the mushroom ketchup? And did you pour ketchup in your soon-to-release Styx Fumo plushies and garden gnomes? Those will never happen. No, I use the simple one, the one that doesn't have corn syrup. It uses cane sugar. Paul sent a link here. Unfortunately, if you send a YouTube super chat, I cannot actually take the link. If I press on this on StreamYard, all I get is this. There's no way to copy it out, I think. Yeah, there's no way to, I mean, yeah, the only options are delete comment, put user in timeout, or ban user and delete their comments. And obviously, I'm not going to do that. Let's see. Lord of the Ree, the water starter is always objectively the best as it can learn ice-type moves and royally fuck your rival's team. Charizard is basic bitch mode. Also, the point is to beat Trump, it's to be with him. Yeah, no, my favorite Pokemon, I liked, like when I would capture one of the 3 legendary birds, you could only get one of them. I would always get Arcticuno. Because ice type was definitely much more devastating than anything else. You could freeze an opponent solid, for Christ's sake. BW, I thought Michigan had removed RFK from the ballot. I'm not sure. BW, how would a civil war take place? Too many red areas in blue states and vice versa. Yeah, shuck and jive, yeah. I know the feeling to SBK, Tiberius. A civil war would be probably fairly short because the military would side with one side of the partisans and it would pretty much be over. They would probably side with the right wing on this particular issue. Kathleen Green, to help us clankers heal after the trauma of another attempt, I suggest you give all of Clankdom a quick and sassy brown sugar shuffle. I can do a brown sugar shuffle sometime, but I'm not set up for that right now. My camera rig is not set up for me to stand up. Don't worry, you'll get a brown sugar shuffle. I'll make sure to have a watermelon under one hand and a fried chicken under the other one. Basically, I'll be Kamala Harris only with a penis. Wasted bonehead sticks make us plushies out of biltong. I demand this along with Bill Thong. Yeah, Anton, actually, that's not a bad idea. If you were to make like biltong into thongs, somebody would fucking buy it as a novelty gift. Somebody would find this funny. Well, I mean, everyone would find it funny, but you'd probably get more than a few sales. I'm gonna eat them meat flaps. I don't mean the pussy, I mean the biltong. Edward Ream, Gen 2 is maximum Pokemon. I liked Pokemon back in the day. I had a huge collection. The Cimmerian, ketchup on snatch fish is great to slurp up. I don't know if you're making a sexual reference or an aquatic reference at the moment. Kathleen Green, Kamala has a bigger one than you. That's entirely possible. That's the problem. BW. I don't know, Sticks. The Marines tend to be conservative and the rest of the military tends to be majority Democrat, not to mention the wokeness. The Marines would destroy the rest of the military, though. The Navy would be completely helpless without the Marines to guard them on base. The Air Force, what the fuck are they going to do? They can't guard the street corners. The Army, who gives a fuck? If I were president of the United States, I would have a Marine detail on me at all times. They don't even need to be armed. They're fucking crazy. Ashley, Squirtle approves of the stream. Yeah, he seems to be pretty happy. Next, we have a cookie poll, actually, we got to talk about. Pennsylvania is definitely very much in play. It's almost a 50-50 sum game within the polls. I think Trump has a slight edge, but in this particular unscientific poll, he has much more of an edge. A small town bakery, keep in mind, small town, so leans towards Trump, in a key swing state is using cookies to add extra sweetness and competition to the upcoming presidential election. Lochel's Bakery in Hatboro, Pennsylvania, you should probably go there, they sound like cool people, is tracking the sales of their red Trump cookies and blue Harris cookies as customers from across the country are placing orders to show support for their candidate. As of Friday morning, the shop had sold a whopping 5,200 Trump cookies versus 500 Harris cookies. Womp, womp, womp. I think that people support Trump all over, owner Kathleen Local, or Lochel. I don't know exactly how it's pronounced. My apologies. Told Fox and Friends First Friday morning. Lochel said her customers are expressing how high costs under the Biden-Harris administration are impacting them. Like, they'll complain about the cost of the cookie maybe, or something like that. A lot of people are upset right now with the cost of things. They're venting to us, she said, adding that the bakery stays neutral to all and loves all their customers regardless of political opinions. That's the way to do it, by the way. I hate it when businesses get confrontational over politics. I support Trump completely. But if I had, let's say, a fucking bakery, a bookstore, a restaurant or something, you think that I'm going to discriminate against somebody who comes in with the Harris shirt? Sure, they probably don't tip as well, but at the very least, they're buying the food. That's the way that capitalism should work. Doesn't matter what your ideology is. Dust thou art. Sticks. You underestimate the corruption in our military. I was shocked to learn how many people with TS and SCI clearances in my space were open socialists and communists. Yeah, I mean, that is a problem. There was that one dude, you remember when the Naval Academy graduated last year? He had like "Communism will win" or something written on his hat and had a picture of it, and then he got kicked out of the Naval Academy. That was probably a good decision. No, I don't believe that communists should be allowed to serve in the military. I don't believe that they should be allowed to be in the country at all. With that being said, if somebody has generic left-wing views, it doesn't mean that they can't fight. And trust me, I don't think that the average left-winger is going to graduate from the Marine Corps Academy. I don't think they'd be able to take him. I have trust in them. I am 100% fan of the Marines. You had a couple of Marines with you, the fucking a dozen people can come at you. You're perfectly fine. Joe, I like your casting couch. Yeah. Musically assured destruction. Trump assassination attempt happened hours after he posted about Taylor Swift. I thought the Swifties were rising up. I mean, that's always possible. He's like, fuck, I could tolerate Trump before, but, look what you made me do. Joe, that's the way the cookie crumbles. Yeah, apparently it's like a 10-1 for Donald Trump at that particular bakery. Again, this is not a scientific poll. It's just for humor's sake. This is something I deeply disagree with the Biden administration on, and I disagreed with the Trump administration on. This is actually a Trump-era policy, and it was one that I didn't support. I can't remember if I made a video on the subject. Biden administration taking steps to eliminate protections for gray wolves. Billings, Montana. If successful, the move would put the predators under state oversight nationwide and open the door for hunting to resume in the Great Lakes region after it was halted 2 years ago under court order. Environmentalists had successfully sued when protections for wolves were lifted in former President Donald Trump's final days in office. This was a miss for him, just like the CIA black sites thing that he did in his first days in office. Friday's filing is with the 9th U.S. District Court of Appeals when was President Joe Biden administration's first explicit step to revive that rule. Yes, again, the Biden-Harris administration is attempting to revive something that Trump first championed. Only this time it's not a good idea. Here's what I think about wolves. Livestock can occasionally be impacted by predation by wolves. Attacks on humans are very, very rare. They happen once in a goddamn blue moon, unless the animal is sick, so rabies generally. Wolves generally do not attack people. If they attack livestock, that's also rare. Typically, they're just running around in the woods and shit like that. There are occasions when wolves will attack sheep. They'll attack goats, chickens, stuff like that. Do you want to hunt foxes to extinction? Because they'll predate upon the chickens. What about coyotes? They'll nail a sheep. They have no problem with it. These are ubiquitous all across the continent. Wolves, for some reason, people have this morbid fear of them, even though arguably they're less likely to attack you than a fucking coyote. Coyote populations, in some cases, are a little bit out of control at the moment. Wolves are more likely to run away. They attack, again, unless sick, they attack people very irregularly. I don't even know, when's the last time there was even a wolf attack in North America? I don't even know. Occasionally get bear attacks. You're more likely to get mauled by a moose. Hell, you're more likely to get attacked by a buck deer than by a wolf, probably. I realize, by the way, Ubuk, they are not endangered. That's true. By the way, they're talking about trying to reintroduce wolves here in Vermont, and I rise up in strong support of that. I realize that might be a pain in the ass for farmers sometimes. Hey, it nailed one of my sheep. Okay, I understand that. I would prefer, honestly, I say this as a goddamn classical liberal, as a fucking libertarian. I would rather them reintroduce the wolves and then simply subsidize farmers when they have a loss of one of their livestock. I would really rather that. I would love to see wolves, but we don't have any. Yeah, you've got coyotes, you've got wild dogs, you've got foxes, you've got all sorts of, you got bears, then you've got dangerous herbivores like mooses and buck deer. What's the big threat from having a few wolves around? I just don't understand it. King of Biltong, speaking of meat. Biltong is one of the most protein-dense foods in the world, packed with B12, zinc, iron, creatine, and more. Need a healthy snack? Get yours at BiltongUSA.com. Sticks 10 for 10% off. Game is available. Yes, the elk and venison, I guess, is back in stock. That's what I'm talking about. I don't mind if people hunt wolves. In fact, can you eat wolf meat? Is that legal? Like, if you kill a wolf, are you able to, obviously you can take the pelt or something. Can you eat the meat? Like, I wonder what it would taste like. I'd be much more worried about a catamount than a group of wolves. Wolves are much more easily going to be driven off. Yeah, I know that it would taste like dog, but I don't know what dog tastes like. I'm wondering if anyone in chat, have you ever, like, gone to a country where you could eat dog meat? Like, I'm about to go to Louisiana, I'm gonna eat turtle meat. You can't get that shit up here. I'm assuming it tastes slightly aquatic, sort of like maybe reptilian frog or something like that. RJ, Sticks, will you post your chili recipe in a Twitter? Been feeling like a bowl of chili and a biscuit. Clank. Yeah, I could do that, but you got to understand, I sort of cook by smell and taste. I don't really follow a recipe. I just sort of have the knack for it, if that makes any sense. Yes, turtle stew. I am going to eat that in NOLA. Taco Woman Sandy Ravage. Sticks, come check out my blackened death metal band Gnashing on Saturday, 9/28 at Siberia in NOLA. I'll hook you up with a bunch of merch. Let's see. I think I'll be there for the 28th. Let me take that down. Let me see. Set. Okay. No. I'll file it under NOLA band. Yeah, I mean, I don't know which day I fly out. I don't know if I'll be there. I think so. I'll check into it. If I'm there, then I'll definitely show up. The Sumerian Sticks, if you own the bakery and someone with a Harris shirt came in, would you at least spit on the cookie, wouldn't you? No, of course not. Do that at all. They have the right to have their own beliefs. Their beliefs may be retarded, but it doesn't matter. SNK Nyojumen Sticks, that bakery is just a couple miles outside of Philly. Oh, then that's a little bit more meaningful if it's near Philly. Barra, what's your percentage of a Trump win? 85% at the moment. I believe that Trump is very likely to win, and it'll probably climb if there's another presidential debate. Clumsy Vash, ask Ohio about dog meat. Yeah. Sigil, if you don't know what kind of danger wolves can pose, look up the time wolves had the entire city of Paris under siege. Our ancestors killed these things for a good reason. Respect it. You worship ancestors, Sticks, so don't be so eager to undo the world they built without understanding why they did what they did. Yes, if you cull the wolf population, that's perfectly fine. We do that with deer, for example. Vermont has a very healthy deer herd. We cull them. We allow limited hunting, but we're not trying to drive them to extinction. I think in areas where wolves are, historically they would be there, they should reintroduce them. And in areas where they predominate, when they are common, yeah, go ahead and cull some of them. Keep the wolf packs healthy, and make sure to keep them afraid of humans so that there are no human interactions. That is a good idea. I do agree with you on that one. BW. But you can put X-Lax in the cookie to get some of the shit out of their brain. I don't think it'd work, sadly. Dust thou art. And oh, Dave, he sent a link there. I don't know what it's to. I'll pull from the hillside. Oh, deer-related stuff. Cool. Yeah, I've seen all sorts of deer around here. One time when I was 15, I was out gathering bricks in the woods. There's an old dam back there. Most of the bricks you've seen in the garden were requisitioned from that. It had been flooded out, and they made a new one. And I had my little wagon with me, and I was coming back along the path, and there were 6 deer. There were 4 adult females and 2 fawns actually with them. And I was like, cool. That was pretty cool. Bogged one, you think Trump gets any boost from second attempt? No. I don't think he gets any boost at all from this. At this point, anyone who was going to give him a boost in support from being potentially assassinated already made up their mind from the first time. This one was less impressive. The first time you get Trump shot in the ear and then saying, fight, fight, fight. That's impressive. And that did give him a boost. Small, but measurable. This time it was more like there's no cameras or anything like that. You didn't have a fight, fight, fight moment. You just have a news story. And of course, half the legacy media doesn't want to talk about it too long. Redane, I know someone who is high up in the military. According to him, the higher the rank, the more left they are. That doesn't surprise me too much. But I would trust the regular military, like lower end people that are not commissioned officers, to make the right decision. Generally, ultimately, under such circumstances, if the entire population was, in complete tumult, I would expect them to make the right decision. I've known many people from the military. They're not in sync with the military brass all the time anyway. They are paid to take commands, but there are exonerating circumstances. And then finally, the terrifying way the eels escape a hungry fish's stomach. There's a video here, archived link in the description. Apparently, certain eels, they get swallowed whole, right, by fish. And then they will literally climb out through the lungs of that fish, literally through the gills. That's a fish's lungs, generally. This is absolutely terrifying when you think about it. And then keep in mind, there are people in Japan that do terrible things with eels. I've seen this on a number of occasions, not in real life, but on video. I have used 4chan. That might not be the greatest of ideas. Imagine that you put them in a certain location and they climb up inside of you accidentally. That probably wouldn't be pleasant. In fact, you'd probably get sepsis and die. So please do not fuck the eels. That's a bad idea. Not just a string. An army is made of soldiers, not generals. Well, the generals are soldiers, but you are fundamentally correct. Exactly. By the way, the military couldn't override the militia anyway. Who wins in a fight? U.S. military, which has a few 100,000 people at this point, probably, and then a million reservists, assuming that nobody decides to flee, versus the entire civilian militia that's actually armed, because leftoids tend to be less well armed, plus probably the sheriff's office, plus probably state guards. I'm rooting for the latter. Those planes are not going to keep themselves aloft without fuel. The tanks are not going to operate without fuel and logistic supply lines, which you cannot extend across an entire continent. It's fucking impossible. The militia would grind them down and eventually win. Yeah, have you seen that video where the dude gets killed by a horse cock? Yeah, I've seen that. Just saying. Yeah, the military wouldn't stand a chance because they need a lot of fuel and they need a lot of supplies and shit like that. How are you going to extend that supply line for 1,000 miles, let alone across the entirety of the North American continent? It's literally impossible. This has been detailed before. There's a reason why we effectively lost against the Taliban. There's a reason why we effectively lost against guerrilla fighters in Vietnam. That's over a much smaller area, by the way. And we had far superior technology. We lost for a reason, and it wasn't just because of politicians. I sleep soundly at night. I'm not even remotely worried about the U.S. military moving in on my position. Half of them would defect anyway. Why are people talking about tilapia? It's disgusting. Sigilstone. Also, don't be severely Indian and shove an eel up your ass. The following time, in case the eel gets hungry, will not help. Your intestines will still get chewed out. I did see that story. That was insane. Yeah, there was a dude in India, and he shoved an eel up his ass, and it chewed its way through his stomach, actually. And I can't remember if he died or not. Pre-59 Cuban deep-fried catfish. Oh, yes. Talk about something I am definitely eating. And I want them to fry the head, too. I want to see its dead eyes staring at me when I chew it down. David Green. Spit? No. Ejaculate goes on the Harris cookie. Ugh. I can even get it up thinking about her. You're a better man than me. Emperor Soft Turtle. Did you see the NBC poll that said twice as many people would not for Harris because of that Swift endorsement as would vote because of it? Yeah. Yeah, apparently the Swift endorsement actually turned some people off from so it means absolutely nothing. Yeah, I want fried catfish, turtle soup. I think there's like a gumbo version, then there's like a brothy soup. I want to try both of them. I don't know if I've ever tried jambalaya, so I'm going to have that. I'm definitely eating gumbo. And what else? Yeah, no, you can recommend good food in New Orleans for me because, damn. Lord of the Ree, eels up inside ya, finding an entrance where they can. God, I love the Mighty Boosh. Clank. Yeah, Mighty Boosh is great. I like the scenes with the moon. Neil Armstrong, a walking on me face. Buzz Aldrin, a walking on me face. All on the surfaces to see what the moon has got to offer. If you don't like Mighty Boosh, you should definitely check it out. If you don't like it, then you've got no sense of humor. Sigilstone, Taylor Swift makes songs about her bad choices in men. Who the fuck would ever want her endorsement? I agree. Basically, every time she has a breakup, she makes a hit album. I mean, more power to you, flaunt it if you got it, but yeah, not necessarily who you want to take political advice for. When you are the moon, the best moon you could be is the full moon. And then the half moon, he's all right. But the full moon is the main moon. And the 3/4 moon, nobody gives a fuck about him. You look up Mighty Boosh Moon. Just trust me. Especially if you happen to be inebriated. Mighty Boosh is the sort of thing that you watch on marijuana. I'm just pointing this out. I had that experience in college. This is the truth. But the moon scenes were definitely the best scenes. Oh my God. I laughed so fucking hard. Bogged one. I don't want the economy to tank for the sake of the country, but if it increases Trump's chances of winning, then so be it. A willing sacrifice? I refuse to endorse such a thing. I'm hoping the economy soars. I'm hoping it does well. Will it tank under Kamala? Yeah, probably. But I refuse to want other people to suffer simply for political purposes. I just can't bring myself to do that. V8. Be drinking some of this later with the quartering, probably. As a serving of vegetables. Catfish are omnivorous bottom feeders. Yeah, they're like human trash cans. They'll eat anything. Sigil, Sticks. You ever drink Baileys from an old shoe? How do you like to go to a club where people wee on each other? Oh, I get the Boosh reference, I think. I haven't drank Baileys ever, actually. I'm the moon. Lev Polyakov, what happened to Sonic the Hedgehog on your right? Squirtle took his place. Check out the esoteric Elon Musk clip I animated. I'll have to check that out later. Yeah, no, there's an ever-rotating background. Today I've got my Pokemon with me. He's going to, do bubbling things, I guess. It'd be funny to get a bubble machine, put it inside the Squirtle, and have like a little nozzle at the mouth, so you could press a button and bubbles would come out. Yeah, that'd be cool. Dread Clown. A small piece of data. Montgomery, Pennsylvania, where Lochel Bakery is, went blue last cycle by almost double. 170,000 to Biden's 312. Ooh, then that would be, I guess that would be impressive. Spirit Matter. Think of New Orleans as the northernmost Caribbean city, and it makes sense. Sigil Stone, I'll hurt you. Yeah, I want to have fried catfish. You can't pass it up. You're going to New Orleans. That's definitely a must-have. And jambalaya. But I also want lots of Haitian food. Preferably not the geese, because, I don't know, I've never had goose, but it doesn't sound like it'd be particularly tasty. Saxon Violet, same reason I don't like bay scallops. Scallops are delicious. It doesn't matter if they're bay scallops or sea scallops. They are absolutely fantastic. Bretling, yeah. Apparently goose is similar to duck then. Because I've had duck a couple of times, and one time it was kind of dry. It tasted really good, though. Like it was, I'd say, better than chicken. It had that slight gaminess, that slight, roastiness to it. I thought it was spectacular. Even the dried out duck that I had at the all you can eat buffet, which it's not exactly posh, even that was good. Oh God. Dust thou art, military white pill. Our division spent $60 on the Trumpy Bear stuffed animal, and it stayed next to the air traffic monitor as our mascot for 3 years. Yeah, exactly. I don't worry about soldiers being, deployed on domestic shores to shoot people. There have only been a few cases in relatively modern U.S. history where anything akin has happened, like Kent State or something like that. It doesn't happen often. Kent State, Waco, a few, usually feds are involved, though. It's not even the soldiers that are doing it. Lev Polyakov, Anton's Canadian goose biltong. Yeah, if he kills a bunch of Canadian geese, trust me, nobody up here is going to give a shit. You go ahead. You'll be considered a hero. Yeah, sea scallops are good. Bay scallops are good. I don't see the difference in flavor myself. They're different in size usually. Sea scallops tend to be bigger. Yeah, fried catfish. I'm going to try so many new foods. You have no idea. I want to have Cajun food, Haitian food, Creole food, every food basically. I mean, I'm probably going to gain 10 pounds. Turtle piquant. I don't know all these fancy restaurant terms. Just cook me a turtle. I kind of want to have like a turtle soup that's in a regular old broth, like kind of like the white broth they use in miso, but I don't know if that's actually made in any of these places. It sounds like it's more of like a jumbo style stew or something like that. But I do want to try it. I've talked about it for years. I mean, might as well get it out of the way. Either it's delicious or it sucks shit. Sigil Stone, I've seen these pictures from desegregation, soldiers holding peaceful civilians at bayonet point for daring to protest. I'm very concerned what they'll do when ordered. Different circumstances. For one thing, you didn't have as well-armed a militia back then. You didn't have as big a militia back then. You didn't occupy the entire continent back then. There weren't nearly as many people to control back then. You didn't have the communications technology you have back then. There are a plethora of differences. And I know that the U.S. Marines, especially, if they were given the order to fire on U.S. civilians, I mean in any considerable capacity, they would ignore the order and they would turn their guns around. You don't go through that kind of training very easily. I don't think the average leftoid would be able to do so. Hell, I couldn't do it. You put me in a fucking Marine boot camp, I'd break down within 2 hours, dude. Never said that I was a tough guy. I can hold my own, but yeah, that would be a little bit, God, they deliberately psychologically scar you to get you ready for combat and shit. Yeah, I know that the grunts will believe that they're doing the right thing for their country, but there would be mass defections. It's totally different. If it was wide scale, like the entire country, it would be completely different from a sporadic incident. Like, okay, this state happens to be in rebellion. Okay, maybe the troops just come in and shoot everyone. If it's the whole country, at some point, their community, they're looking at their families, they're thinking about them. They're not going to follow those orders. It wouldn't happen. And you can't deploy, Moabs or nukes or something like that, because then you slaughter a bunch of civilians. I think at first, most people in the military would follow orders. When they realize how bad it would get, very quickly order would break down. Sigil Stone, that's what they'll say they'll do and what they'll actually do when the chips are down, just saying. Yeah, exactly. I think that generally speaking, people in the military, they're going to say, I will follow orders to the letter, see, hoorah. But when it comes down to it, they're thinking, is my family being shot right now? Oh, we're being shot at by every blade of grass. There's like 300 fucking million people shooting at us. Fuck this shit. Dust thou art, King of Biltong. Do you have any guinea pig biltong? I had one whole and deep fried when I was in South America, and it was not too bad. Ooh, I wonder. Yeah, I know you can get, what's the name of that big rodent that's down in the New Orleans area? I want to try that too. Nutria, I think it's called. I want to try that too. Anyways, I'm going to go offline. I've got to go live with the quartering at 1 p.m. So that's, what time is it right now? Yeah, so it's a little over an hour from now. Capybara. I don't think there are any of those in New Orleans, but I know there's Nutria. But I'm going to go offline. I'm going to do a brief news crawl, get ready for tomorrow, although I've got most of the docket already completed. And then I'll go live again at 1 p.m. with the quartering. Make sure to follow him. I'll be sharing that out on Twitter. And yeah, it'll be fun. Tomorrow, we will have another news cycle. And as you've seen, it gets crazier and crazier. So I don't doubt that there will be plenty to talk about. One last comment, Apache. Most of the modern military is cucked. There are a few patriots, but at least 45% would turn on the U.S. population at the drop of a hat. 45% is not nearly enough. You'd need like 90% of them not to defect in order to actually incapacitate the militia. And even then, it'd be like a 50-50 sum game. So yeah, I'm going to go offline and get ready for tomorrow's news stream and for my stream with the quartering. So I thank you to the almost 5,000 people that tuned in live. I will be back tomorrow. That's about all. Peace out.